It's Dorothea from Through an Orthodox Christian Lens. Thanks for joining me this evening. It's late, like I said, it's nearly 11 o'clock, but I feel like I need to get this last story out of the news activity for today. We're going to start with what the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi says. He said on today, he said, no diplomacy until Israel stops war, faces consequences for crimes. So after a marathon session of talks with European officials, the top diplomat expressed grave concerns about the failure of Israel's partners to condemn the unprovoked war. Iran is ready to consider diplomacy once again once the aggression is stopped and the aggressor is held accountable for the crimes committed. He told reporters in Geneva following talks with European officials, adding that Tehran will continue to exercise its legitimate right to self-defense. Iran's nuclear program is peaceful and has always been under the IAEA safeguards and monitoring. Hence, armed attacks against safeguarded nuclear facilities by a regime which is not a party to any WMD treaties is a serious crime and violation of international law. Very interesting that he points that out. The Israeli regime is not a party to any WMD treaties. Yeah, it never signed any of those. That is true. Okay, that is just true. It's fact. So he's expressed grave concern about the failure of the E3 nations, Germany, Ukraine, France, and the EU to condemn the unprovoked Israeli attacks that sparked this war. In this regard, I made it crystal clear that Iran's defense capabilities are not negotiable. He added that Tehran supports the continuation of talks with the E3 and the EU. We expect Iran to be open to discussions, including with the United States, to reach a negotiation settlement, says this French foreign minister, Jean-Noël Barrot. I don't know how to say it. I'm terrible at French. We expect Iran to be open to discussions, including with the United States, to reach a negotiated settlement through dialogue to this crisis situation, which poses considerable risks for the Middle East region as well as Europe. Speaking at the UN Human Rights Council ahead of the talks, Araghchi declared that the U.S.-Israeli war is a betrayal of diplomacy and highlighted that the government in Tel Aviv is committing grave war crimes by bombing Iran's nuclear facility, which is absolutely banned under international law. I believe the Russians brought that up as well. I'm not sure. Maybe the Chinese as well. I don't recall. Okay. We're going to jump over to Trump says U.S. intelligence wrong about Iran not building nuclear bomb. He says that the DNI, his DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, was wrong when she testified that Iran was not building a nuclear weapon, and that Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei had not reauthorized the country's suspended nuclear weapons program. So the comments come after Trump earlier this week cast doubt on Tulsi Gabbard's March 25th report to Congress, which she reiterated the U.S. intelligence community's assessment. But he said, I don't care what she said. If you remember that, he said that. And the reporter asked, what intelligence do you have that Iran is building a nuclear weapon? Your intelligence community said they have no evidence. The president responded, then my intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that? And then she mentioned Tulsi Gabbard. He's wrong. So, it is extremely rare for a U.S. president to openly contradict the country's intelligence committee community, with critics accusing Trump of flagrant or disregarding evidence to justify potential direct U.S. involvement in the fighting, according to Al Jazeera's senior political analyst Marwan Bashara. It's not just one person, one team saying something. It's the entire intelligence community in the United States. That he would dismiss them, it's just astounding. Okay, so her response, Tulsi's response was that it is the media that is quoting her out of context when indeed she did say specifically that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon back in March. But she said the difference is that Iran can produce one within weeks if it so chooses. And she said that she and the president are in agreement that Iran cannot produce a nuclear weapon. So after he made somewhat of a rude comment about her, or as some people are saying, threw her under the bus, she capitulates and says, oh no, that's not what I meant. Well, maybe perhaps maybe perhaps she has the intelligence that says that Iran is days away or weeks away from doing getting out a nuclear bomb. Speaking of nukes, Pentagon agency believes the U.S. needs to drop a nuke to destroy Iran's Fordo nuclear plant. Although the nuclear expert that I mentioned the other day, Tom Postal, I think his name. Todd, I can't remember. Mr. Postal. He had said that would not work, but they're saying the Pentagon's Defense Threat Reduction Agency has told U.S. officials that in order to destroy Iran's Fordo nuke plant, which is buried deep underground, the U.S. may need to drop a nuke. Well, that's terrifying. Pentagon officials who received the briefing were told that dropping GBU-57's conventional 30,000-pound bunker-busting bombs would not penetrate deep enough underground and that it would only do enough damage to collapse tunnels and bury the facility under rubble. The officials were told that in order to destroy Fordo completely, the U.S. would likely need to first soften the ground with conventional bombs and then ultimately drop a tactical nuclear weapon from a B-2 bomber. Oh, Lord. The report said that President Trump is not considering using a nuke and that the option was not presented to him by Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. Trump is casting doubt on the idea that the GBU-57s could do enough damage to destroy the facility. Israel wants the U.S. to drop the bunker-busting bombs on this Fordo since it lacks the capability, but so far Trump has not given the order for U.S. airstrikes on Iran. The president said on Thursday that he would decide within 2 weeks, although there are indications that attacks could begin this weekend. Yes, I've heard some of those as well. So we're not sure what's going on there. But in the meantime, apparently, in the last 3 hours, this was reported like 3 hours ago, from the Times of India, Iran conducts nuclear test. Explosions trigger 5.1 quake amid Israel war? They're question mark. Panic amid speculations. We don't know if this is true, but we're going to watch this video really quickly. Quake jolts Iran amid Israel conflict. Did Iran test atomic bomb? Northern Iraq was shook by a 5.1 magnitude earthquake amid conflict with Israel. Who knows? These weapons are all pretty tough, especially even the new missile. According to Quake, measured 5.2 and struck some 27 minutes southwest of, I didn't get the rest. Earthquake took place amid Israel's relentless attacks on Iran's nuclear facilities. Thursday, Israel struck Iran's Iraq heavy water reactor in Kundab. Israeli military said its jets hit the facility to stop it from being used to produce plutonium. Iran has used its full missile power in its retaliatory action against Israel. Iran has dubbed Israel's attacks on its nuke facilities grave war crimes. Yes. Okay. Okay, well, that's what I have for you this evening. Hope you got something out of that. It's quite a lot of stuff going on. Do you think that was what they were testing a nuke? I don't know. We will find out probably over the weekend. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Please follow my channel on Rumble. Subscribe and follow my channel on YouTube. Please, if you like my videos, like them. Share my videos if you like, and my channel. And thanks so much for your support. Hope you have a wonderful night.